We are on Wednesday of Holy Week. Thank you for joining with us for the last several days, and I hope that you continue to join us for the rest of this week. As we read through Luke's Gospel, especially in Luke 20, we find that there were three groups of religious leaders who approached Jesus as he taught in the temple. Each of these groups had questions that were intended to be theological traps for Jesus. But Jesus disarmed those traps. Jesus exposed those questions and the attitudes of the people asking the questions for what they really were. In the process of answering and exposing, Jesus turned to the authority of the Scriptures. And Jesus made the Scriptures the common ground on which Jesus and the leaders approached God. The authority and truth of God's voice to humanity was shown to answer every question that could be thrown at Jesus. Too often, we allow the emotion of the moment to guide our response as we're talking to others. Never do we see Jesus doing this, even in those emotional times. Like, for example, if he's driving the money changers out of the temple, or when he's at Lazarus' tomb. Yes, Jesus expresses emotion. He's crying. There's a righteous indignation, and we could even say a righteous anger at what Jesus is facing here, whether it's the unbelief of the people at Lazarus' tomb, or whether it's the lack of trust in God, the lack of love for others that's shown as Jesus is driving these money changers out of the temple. Instead of giving control over to an emotional outburst, though, Jesus trusted the Scriptures and found there the foundation of every decision that was made. At the end of Luke chapter 20, Jesus makes the following statement to the disciples. Luke 20, starting in verse 46. And Jesus says, "Beware of the scribes, who desire to go around in long robes, who love greetings in the marketplaces, the best seats in the synagogues, and the best places at the feasts, who devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. They will receive greater condemnation." Jesus' last words in Luke chapter 20, this warning to his disciples, lead directly into Luke chapter 21, where Jesus comments to his disciples about a poor widow who is putting all the money that she has into the temple treasury. The contrast that Jesus draws here between the religious leaders who seek the approval of others and who seek to be placed first in the minds of everybody, to be made to look important to others, versus this woman who nobody, it seems, except for Jesus, notices. This is important for us to see as well. There will always be those people who want others to see how important they think they are. These people get their reward, and that is the praise of other people now, in this life. And then there are those people who might only receive in this life the smile of God for their service, for their giving, for the ways that they demonstrate love to others. But God gives them their reward, not now, but in eternity. May God help us to choose that good part, which will not be taken away. And in choosing this good part of learning to respond and learning to trust God, God continues the process of building our spiritual house upon the rock of Jesus.